What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio Robinson YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Wednesday, June 28th, and we're about a little less than a month away from the kickoff of Washington Commanders training camp, which is an exciting time because it'll be exactly a week after our new ownership group has been voted and ratified in by the owners on July 20th. So we will see boots on the ground from new ownership when Washington hits training camp. And I am so excited. I took my little dog days of summer break from content. Your boy's back, and I'm going to be back consistently. And you know it's going down when camp starts, when I get boots on the ground out in Ashburn. I'll be at camp as much as possible, getting as much highlights, content, and stuff from on site at training camp. Just like we did last year, we're going to take it up a notch. You know, we always try to push the content forward over here. And we've reached that shit part of the summer, man. Like, turn on ESPN. They're talking about a bunch of bullshit. The only thing to talk about is baseball. Baseball is only exciting in the fall. It's only exciting during playoffs. I love me some Otani, but if that's the only thing that there is to talk about in sports, it's like, fuck. And the Nationals suck, so that's no fun. But you look at the local news, they're talking about people swimming in the Anacostia River if they open that shit up. It's a terrible time, bro. And please, people, do not go swim in the Anacostia River. There's a couple rivers in this country that should never be inhabited in. And it's the Anacostia, the Hudson, the Mississippi. Don't go swim in the Anacostia. I'm sure that shit feels like corrosion and death. I'm sure it smells disgusting and it's vile. And look at this shit we got to talk about at this time of year. Let's talk about some football, man. My expectation videos are about to come out this week for a lot of guys, including a lot of second-year guys who broke out onto the scene as rookies last year. He was just on a podcast yesterday with a couple of his college teammates, Mr. Jahan Dotson. I call him, but take the I out of him, replace it with a one, him. Han Solo, the first commander, the first draft pick of the new name change to the Washington Commanders, Jahan Dotson. A guy, when we traded back and took him, I threw a tantrum. It's a new annual routine on the channel. When you watch my draft reactions, I'm going to hate Washington's pick. And so far, so good. We're one of one on the channel hating draft picks right now, because I hated the pick and he came out lights out. And as advertised, the guy lives, breathes, sleeps, and dies football. The guy carries a football with him everywhere he goes. Same shit happened this year when we drafted Forbes. Me and my draft party, we threw a whole hissy fit over it, meaning he's probably going to be elite. I talked to my guy Lake Lewis on the phone for about an hour the other day. He told me Forbes looks every bit the part of possibly the best corner he's seen in this building in a decade or two. So despite the fact that he's 80 pounds soaking wet, the boy's a baller. And that was one of the knocks on Jahan coming out, was his frail frame. And what surprised me the most from Jahan Dotson in year one as a rookie here in Washington was that despite the fact that he came in 5'10", 180 pounds soaking wet, he plays big. He plays bully ball, and he's our number one red zone and goal line option. You think when the field shrinks, you need a big target down there. But this guy, the way he sets up defenders with his routes, the way he boxes out defenders and attacks the football in the air, high points it, he's a legitimate number one option on the goal line and in the red zone. For some reason, we can never get the ball to Terry in the red zone, but Jahan is him, bruh. When we get down in that area, it's like automatic. Like the first 2 weeks of the season, this dude was lights out versus the Lions and versus the Jaguars in that area of the field. And that surprised me. And coming into year two, my boy Jalen had boots on the ground at minicamp, OTAs, and the first thing he noticed about Han, he said, he looks compact now. That boy put some girth on him. I know that's nasty wording. That boy put some girth. He put a little thickness on him. He looks compact. He been in that weight room. Chad Englehart got these boys eating steak and lifting weights all day. The boy looks good. His route running is that of a 5 to 6 year veteran, and you could see that early on as a rookie. Literally, the first time I saw him in minicamp, when I got to go to minicamp his rookie year, he was cutting fools up early. He was cutting them up. He was breaking them down and cutting them up. And expectations for Jahan going forward, don't be modest about it. Don't be humble. We took him with the 16th pick in the NFL draft, the 2022 NFL draft. And when you take somebody in the top half of the first round, you're not bringing him in to be some mid. You're not bringing him in to be a number two. You're not really bringing him in to be Robin. You're bringing him in to be co-Batman. Our expectations for Jahan Dotson in 2023 and going forward is that we now have two number one receivers. Not no mano-y-mano Batman and Robin bullshit. None of that. We need Batman and Batman. And to be perfectly honest, don't be sensitive about, we should expect him to be better than Terry. We did not draft him with the 16th pick to not be better than Terry, and it is a good problem to have if he eventually ascends into a better wide receiver than Terry. You draft a guy that high, he needs to be. We drafted Terry in the 3rd round to be a special teams gunner, and he turned out to be the best receiver in that room that included Josh Dotson, a Dotson I never want to remember here, but we got a chance of redemption drafting another Jay Dotson, one that actually loves football. Josh Dotson, he was here for vibes and camaraderie and to chill with players and teammates. He was here for the brotherhood aspect of it. Didn't care about the sport of football too much, but this dude Jahan, he loves it. He lives it. He breathes it. And if y'all didn't hear this podcast, the Second Wind podcast he was on, he talks about a little bit of everything, and he has a chip on his shoulder. I remember earlier this offseason in the interview with Julie, he talked about, I pay attention to guys that were drafted ahead of me. And he said in this podcast yesterday, yeah, man, I hear a lot of receivers' names get mentioned in a lot of conversations, and I never hear my name. And I'm taking that personally. And he's taking it personally. Literally, he's saying it out loud. He's manifesting it. I hear my name not in the conversation. It's time to put it there. It's put up or shut up time. And in year 2, we're not coming in with no, I hope he gets 50 catches. No, sir. My year 2 expectations for Jahan Dotson are to put up Chris Olave numbers. Chris Olave, the guy we all wanted us to draft at 11 before trading back to 16 last year. He also was in a situation where he didn't have a quarterback in New Orleans last year. And what did he do his rookie year? 70 plus catches, 1,050 yards, 6 touchdowns. So those are my expectations for Jahan this year as a co-number 1 receiver here. Yes, co-number 1 receiver, him and Terry, them boys, Jahan and Terry. I want 1,000 yards from both of them. I want 70 catches for Jahan Dotson. I want 1,050 yards, meaning a little bit under 1,100, and I want 5 touchdowns. I think the touchdown number may go down a bit because we're going to spread that ball around. I think him, Terry, and Curtis end up around 4 or 5 touchdowns apiece. But with Jahan being a goal line and red zone threat and being probably the best red zone threat we have right now, that number could go closer to 7 to 10 again, because he easily scores 10 touchdowns if we even had a halfway decent quarterback last year, despite the fact that he missed 5 games. He only played in 12 games and ended up with 35 catches, just under 600 yards, and led the team with 7 touchdowns as a rookie with no quarterback. It's crazy. That seemed to be the growing narrative of the 2022 receiver class, is that none of them had a quarterback. Garrett Wilson, offensive rookie of the year, 83 catches, 1,100 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns, no quarterback. His best quarterback was Mike White. Chris Olave played with bums. He played with trash cans. Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, and Taysom Hill. Still went 4,000 his rookie year. Jahan goes 4,000 easily if he doesn't miss 5 games. George Pickens is growing with his rookie quarterback, a rookie quarterback that I like, and Kenny Pickett. But that's crazy. Kenny Pickett's probably the best quarterback of all the rookie quarterbacks, of all the rookie receivers that dominated last year. I think Sam Howell's going to get him the ball. You can hear the way Jahan lights up when he talks about Sam Howell. This is a guy he threw with at the combine. This is a guy he comes into his rookie class with. When you come into a rookie class with a guy drafted by the same team, that's a different type of brotherhood, camaraderie, and fraternity right there. This is a guy you came into the league on the same team with. So he believes in him. And just that one game he played with him versus Dallas, we saw Jahan get to show that yards after catch rack ability that we didn't get to see all year, because Wentz was either throwing it over his head, Heineke wasn't getting the ball to him, or throwing it behind him. And we had to put up with trash cans at the quarterback position through the majority of last year. We actually have a quarterback now who throws with TTA, touch, timing, and anticipation. My favorite throw, I keep saying it, in that Dallas game, it was not the 60-yard deep ball to Terry, which I love. We love those. But my favorite throw was I think it was a comeback route. It was a comeback route to Jahan. As soon as Jahan bucked that shoulder back, ball was right over his outside shoulder, turned, ball, turn, up the field he goes. On a slant, catches it in stride. The ball got deflected, caught it on the stride, still was off to the races. We didn't really get to see what he could do, except for that Giants game where he put dude in a fucking blender spin cycle when he took us to overtime versus the New York Giants in New York. This is the type of thing this guy can do consistently if he gets the ball in his hands and the ball is put in the right place. The guy attacks the ball like he's Drake London size. He runs routes like Terry McLaurin. He's fast, and he has automatic hands. He had a couple concentration drops later in the year versus San Francisco and a couple big plays. And the play he had at home on Sunday night versus the Giants, if that ball wasn't drastically underthrown, he's probably taking that to the crib for an 80-yard touchdown. Jahan Dotson, co-number 1 receiver, co-Batman. No second fiddle number 2 shit here. And as fans, it is fair that we project that he should at some point be better than Terry McLaurin, because where we drafted him to be, he needs to be. And that is a great conversation to have. Imagine having 2 Terry McLaurin caliber receivers on the outside. This boy, I would say, is the most talented wide receiver on the roster at the moment. And I hope I continue to dislike Washington's first round pick, because that'll probably mean we're doing the right thing. We're a month away from training camp. 70 catches, 1,050 yards, 5 or 6 touchdowns. Book it. Those are my expectations for Jahan Dotson in year 2 as a starting receiver for the Washington Commanders. Let me know what your expectations and statistical predictions are for Han Solo in year 2 here in Washington, man. I can't wait to see 14 sling it to 1, sling it to 17, to 10, and maybe we'll see something out of De'Ami Brown. Maybe we'll make a De'Ami Brown video. I don't feel like we really need to spend time too much on that, because I need to see what he's capable of at this point, because we ain't seen him. There's been an APB missing on put out on De'Ami Brown since the Tennessee Titans game. My man came, saw, conquered for one Sunday of the season, never saw him again. But this boy Jahan appears to be special. He has a chip on his shoulder, and I'm excited to see what he does in the Eric Bieniemy offense in year 2 with the Washington Commanders. Drop your predictions for Jahan down in the comments below. That's all I got for right now. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio out.